They finally struck. The US strikes killed at least 39, including many civilians, as Iraq warns stability is on the brink of the abyss. Peace and safety, peace and security, peace and stability. And when they keep saying these things, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. Stability is on the brink of the abyss. That is a very good description for being on the very cusp of the final week of Daniel, the tribulation, the last 7 years. The abyss is approaching. So again, biblical languages and things that just come right in with world news, which excite me. Widespread reports say 39 killed in the Friday US airstrikes on Iran-linked targets across western Iraq and eastern Syria, which used over 125 bombs and precision munitions, according to the Pentagon. There are reportedly civilians among the dead. Now, before I carry on, let me just specify here. In war, civilians get killed. That is why war is bad. These things happen. There is a word for it. It's called collateral damage. You can't always make sure that civilians don't wander into your target zones unless you are directly striking at civilians, like Iran does regularly, Syria does regularly. All these people, they do it regularly. The world keeps quiet. China does regularly because their name is not Israel and the world is focused on Israel. So that's just another example. The Baghdad government on Saturday said 16 Iraqis, among them civilians, were killed, while on the other side of the border, the Syrian Defense Ministry confirmed that both militants and civilians were killed, but refused to provide a figure. The Syrian military said many civilian and military martyrs died. The Anti-Assad Monitoring Group, UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, said that the Syria strikes killed 23 militia figures. The strikes lasted for just 30 minutes, having begun at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and additionally utilized B-1B bombers, which flew over 6,000 miles after departing from Dyess Air Force Base in Texas, among other aerial assets. This was supposedly for the element of surprise, despite the White House taking a week to respond. It is impressive, the B-1B bomber. I have been fortunate enough many years ago to actually see them in action here in South Africa. For whatever reason, they were here and they were flying in this area. I was driving with friends and we heard this thundering roar, and we stopped the vehicle and got out, and between the small mountains, and I mean small, low mountains, these two B-1Bs came thundering really low above the ground at high speed. Wings swept back, just through the mountain passes, and it's one of the most amazing flying sequences I've had the privilege to see unplanned. It is a really good plane to use for surprise attacks. They go really low, they're very maneuverable, very deadly. The fact that the Biden regime made sure that the enemy knew exactly when they were starting to look at striking back is still a joke, and really removes from the impact that could have been had if they hadn't warned the enemy, is another thing to be talked about on the side. But now that this has happened, and now that these strikes have begun and will possibly continue, and there's talks about boots on the ground, this is really more and more shaping up to prove to everyone this is World War III. Multiple countries are in conflict with each other. Multiple countries have boots on the ground in other countries. Multiple countries are firing ballistic missiles at each other. Multiple countries are using drones to attack each other. Multiple countries are threatening to wipe out other countries. Everyone is using nuclear rhetoric all the time. Is the world not at war? Is this not that time? It sure as heck looks like it to me. So I keep looking up. Shalom.